We're next to one of the dwarf scotch pines here, and the project today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to shear back some of these elongated candles to try to keep this bonsai type effect we have here. Now, bonsai is a Japanese term for planted in a container, and it refers to a miniature version of a tree that mimics a tree in nature. So when I say bonsai, this pruning and shaping we'll be looking at today reminds me of the bonsai art form that we use in our landscapes. Now, this plant was put in the ground about 6 years ago. You can take a look at this photo. This was purchased out of Isley Nursery, an excellent grower out in Oregon. A lot of specialty conifers. Look at that cedar box. That's one of the things they do. But back when I purchased this 6 years ago, this was about $1,500. So one of the more expensive plants that we've put in. And when you plant something that expensive, you want to make sure that you're going to have success, it's going to live. Well, the first winter it went through, take a look at the scorch that we had here. Yeah, just completely burned up. But luckily, I knew if I was patient and if those candles remain viable, you just have to let all those desiccated brown needles start dropping through. And then those buds will break dormancy, and it's come back pretty good. One other thing that we've had a little bit of scale and insect on this, that's also caused some needles be dropping. And take a look down here with all these needles. Not only this spring did I take a blower after this, a power blower, one of the bigger ones, and I blew a lot of extra needles out of here. And then last night I just got started on this project and I've been digging out even more. So that took me a little bit by surprise, but you know what? It's logical. If you take a look in here, as these balls elongate, they shade out the inner side. Let's take you in for a little bit closer look, see what I'm talking about on that desiccation. If you check it out down in here, yeah, look at that. That used to be a smaller little ball, I'm going to call it, and we've only got just a small portion of growth left on that. There's a good chance I'm going to take out this lower branch today. That really doesn't have hardly any growth left, and it might well be, as this tree advances, grows, we will prune off a lot of those different lower branches all the way around. The other option that I thought of was to take out an occasional ball in here, and then we would have more room for some of those other ones to expand. And now that I see the severe desiccation or needle drop that we've got back in there, I just don't think it's going to look good doing that. We'll keep this shape as long as we can. It doesn't look quite as good as when we first purchased it, but we still really enjoy this sculptured plant. Now, my time to do this, I normally like to do it after the candles have elongated, and I take out about 1/2 to 2/3 of that candle. I've also read where you can do this in the spring before they break dormancy. The one time I do avoid, I don't like to prune any of my evergreens like this in the fall before winter. There I do think you get a little extra of the brown tips on them. And what type of tools should a guy use? I like this shears right here. This is from Leonard, Bahco, just one of the greatest all-around pruning tools. Is super durable. I'll put that in the description if you like the idea, something like that, but these work great. I would suspect with the amount of tools available now in battery operated options, there are certainly some mechanical head shears with that reciprocating cutting bar that would really work nice on something like this. My suggestion, if you go that route, use something with a little bit shorter blade. You'll have a little bit easier time getting those tight corners, and you can use a combination. You can take that mechanical or automated shears, get the bulk of it, and then use something like this on the sides. Again, even if you take off more than that 1/2 to 2/3, I sometimes biting into last year's growth, and I don't think it's a problem. I've never had any negative results. If you have time, you know, and the patience, and you really want to get down to an exact point, a good high quality sharp scissors, you could certainly go through and it wouldn't take you all that long. You'd be surprised how quickly you can get something like this done, even with just little hand shears. Since I've got more projects than time, I'm going to speed through it with this. I never used to be a big fan. And then you have these type of plants where you manipulate or shape them, but I got to admit, I'm enjoying it more and more. I do this every year to the mughal pine you see here. This is the pumelo variety, and I've kept this just like a pin cushion throughout the years. This is probably 12 years old in comparison to a larger mughal pine that's never been touched. Look at how much bigger that thing is. I think we've still got quite a few years. We can enjoy this as a focal point with that bonsai type effect. Yeah, you know, this is a statement piece in the gardens, no doubt about it. And we're coming up on another Scotch pine. Look at this one. Isn't this a beautiful setting? Yeah, this one's going to be a little easier to keep in that shape. It's just a lot bigger variety. And look at the candle growth on this, just way more elongated candles. You can see right there. We're going to start at the top and work our way down. One of the challenges here, we've got a slope that this is on, and it gets a little bit tricky with the ladders getting up there. Now, I'm not 100% sure what the variety this is. I'm pretty sure it's a Scotch pine. I don't think it's that dwarf. The dwarf we just looked at, that's going to have just that little bit of growth, you know, an inch or less. But these, as we just took a look, 4 to 6 inches. So we're going to get this shaped up, see if we can keep this effect here. And the main thing is you don't want to let these get too far ahead of you, because then you're in the same situation where the balls are getting crowded. Make sure you brush it once in a while. That'll remove some of those cut tips, because over the next 2 to 3 weeks, those little cuttings will show up as kind of a brown speck in the plant. Now that these are established in this shape, we're really just taking off a uniform amount all the way around. And there you go. Let's go ahead and take a look. Conifer from a lower angle. You know what I think I like the most about this? Look at that curved trunk. That's what really sets this apart as a very unique bonsai type conifer. And here we've got a Colorado blue spruce on standard. You'll find them started and trained at different sizes. You can also find other conifers trained in this fashion, like the mugle pines, the junipers, and false cypress, to name a few. Look at this thing. I've had it in the container. It's original nursery container now, I bet for 4 years. And I just drop it in that tall metal pot. And I'm just looking for that effect in this little garden area here. I do have a video where we covered some of the varieties in here. I'll put a card on the top there. You can always find those in the description as well. And we'll touch it up with the manual shears here. It's always a stubby one that you can't get on these Colorado spruce. This will let us get in there just a little bit tighter. Yeah, this doesn't take long. We're probably only going to spend, I don't know, 10 minutes on this. Our Scotch pine we just did there, that was probably about 20 minutes. Again, we'll do just a little bit of a brush. Get some of those tips out of there. That'll show up as just a little brown speck in a few weeks. All right, yeah, we're pretty close on this one. Let's go ahead. We're going to give you one more example on a juniper. This is probably Savin juniper. It could be sea green again. I'm not sure the variety. You can do this to a lot of different junipers, similar to this spiral that I keep pruned in that shape. But globes are real common too, kind of called a pon tree. We're going to do the same thing we did on that Colorado spruce. We're going to quick get what we can with the automated shears, and then we'll touch it up with our manual shears. Here again, it's just easier to get at some of those tight angles with the shears like this. You could also bring in and use a scissors, little Fisker scissors or something. That works quite well too for the detailed cuts. Now these balls, you'll notice they have grown together. So we're kind of just going in, creating a seam in between them. That's about all we can do. This is only my second time pruning this, and it was kind of in this shape already. So I'm working with what we've got. Now, once upon a time, I was asked to reclaim a juniper such as this that had been let go and get it back to its original form. I thought it turned out pretty good, but a year later I noticed that they removed the juniper and planted daylilies instead. Maybe they were just tired of the yearly maintenance. So there we go. Even though our globes aren't completely individual, I think it's still a really nice effect. I mean, I like how it looks, having them kind of just come together like that at those seams. Yeah, so the junipers just make fantastic plants for pruning into different shapes. While this video was on conifer evergreens and the shaping of them, we're not done pruning just yet in this landscape. We're going to do some shaping on these beautiful dwarf Korean lilacs, but we'll be showing you this project on a separate video. Get just a few more of them as we walk around. That's all I've got for now on pruning back our dwarf Scotch pine. Thanks for stopping by Garden Hike. I appreciate it. We'll see you again next video.